console games. The PC games kind of less so. To be perfectly honest, I'd kind of never heard of things like League of Legends and Dota until I started working at UNICEF and working on gaming. So a kind of a little bit of a mixture there.
Well, there's a huge FIFA tournament going on during Games Without Borders, so I hope that you managed to catch that, I mean, even while you're away. But can you tell me a little bit more about the partnerships within the gaming initiatives that you've worked with at UNICEF?
Yeah, definitely. So there's kind of two areas to our work in gaming. There's partnerships, as you mentioned, which is kind of raising funds and awareness for our work through gaming. And then there's child rights, looking at kind of the positive and negative effects of gaming on children's rights. The partnership side is more kind of my area, and so I'll give you a couple of examples. We set up our first partnerships with an esports team at the beginning of last year, which was with Fnatic, and we did a few different kind of campaigns with them. We did a streaming fundraiser where we got players from across kind of League of Legends, Dota, Call of Duty and others to raise funds, kind of win prizes for the audiences, and raise funds for our child protection work. Alongside that, we also did a campaign using their kind of influence and reach to reduce toxic behaviours in gaming and try and improve the gaming for children. And of course, they came to Gamers Without Borders and won donations for us last year. Alongside this, we've kind of done quite a lot in the sport and gaming space. A lot of my role focuses on sports partnerships as well. So, for example, last year when we saw sports stop because of the pandemic, lots of organisations were looking to gaming to kind of fill that gap, which kind of presented quite a few opportunities for us. So we worked with people like Gareth Bale, Marcus Rashford. We did quite a few racing streams, people like Charles Leclerc. And it was great to see kind of sport and gaming coming together to support us during the pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, you've mentioned, you know, children in gaming, which is a huge portion of the gaming industry. So can you touch on a little bit more about the child's rights, you know, element that you've spoken about?
Yeah, sure. So UNICEF is a child rights organisation. Everything we do from kind of programming is based on the UN Conventions of the Right of a Child. So a few years ago, we started a process looking at how gaming impacted on children's rights, so kind of both positively and negatively, ranging from the right to play, right to protection, and so on. Following on from this, we wrote a set of recommendations for the industry designed to help gaming companies kind of across the spectrum and ecosystem. So developers, publishers, esports platforms, streaming services, helping them to assess their current practices and also looking at areas for them to improve in relation to rights of children. So this varies from looking at things like healthy game time, inclusion representation, toxic environments, managing commercial influence, and so on. And very much the plan moving forward is to work closer with the gaming industry to ensure children are able to enjoy gaming safely and in a way that respects their rights as well. So it's kind of working around gaming in terms of fundraising and partnerships, but then working in gaming to ensure children are kept safe.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely is like an essential part of gaming as well, and it's great that you've also mentioned working with large organisations to prevent toxicity, which, you know, can run rife throughout the gaming industry. So it's awesome that you guys at UNICEF are doing that. Now, did you manage to catch any of the Gamers Without Borders competition last year? You know, which part was your favourite? Did you watch it?
Yeah. Definitely. So I watched it as a fan, of course, also to see how UNICEF were doing in terms of donations. Given, as I said, kind of FIFA is my main game, that's definitely the tournament that caught my eye the most, both, I guess, the elite tournament and also the show match. It's quite surprising, Snoop Dogg playing FIFA 20, for sure. So hoping to see some more of that this year. But
Brella, it's just absolutely phenomenal, and we're great to have you back once more. And most of our viewers are for sure, familiar with UNICEF's humanitarian mission, but for those who are joining us for the first time and viewers that may not be so familiar, could you please tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So UNICEF we're the world's leading organisation for children. So any other organisation, we're global, so we work in 190 countries and territories and some of the kind of office places. And we say we work with along their full cycle, so from 0 to 18, across a number of different themes, ranging from kind of health, education, water and sanitation, and so on. Obviously, for UNICEF and for everyone, COVID has dominated a lot of what we've done over the last kind of 12 or so. Our response to COVID is in two areas. So one is supporting children across the world to recover from the effects of the pandemic, I guess, across some of those themes that I've just mentioned there. And then the second and kind of one of the big focuses for this year is delivering life-saving vaccines. So we are part of the COVAX facility, and kind of working across different continents to deliver vaccines, tests and treatments. I think that's one of the key focuses, is giving equal access to the vaccine and ensuring no one gets left behind. And that's why, I guess, it's through the support of partners and supporters that we're able to do this, like Games Without Borders, to help us achieve these goals.
Well, speaking about the last 12, to 18 months, and Gamers Without Borders regarding UNICEF as well, I mean, we donated over $3.9 million to UNICEF in 2020. So how has this amount of money helped your organisation?
Yeah, it was an amazing partnership with a huge impact. So funding last year went towards our COVID-19 emergency response. I just mentioned it then. And I'll talk through some of the things that the funding helped us to achieve. So we reached over 100 million people with water and sanitation supplies. So, for example, it's very difficult to wash your hands if you have no access to water or access to soap. We reached over 300 million children with distance learning as schools closed and education stopped around the world. And 90 million provided with healthcare services last year.
We've spoken a bit about 2020, so now let's look to the future slightly. What's UNICEF going to do to, push vaccination rollout forward to countries that really need the most?
Yeah, so you're completely right. The number one goal for us this year is very much the vaccines. So our aim is to deliver 2 billion vaccines, COVID-19 vaccines, by the end of 2021. And we're focusing on 92 low to middle income countries. So that's, you may have heard of the COVAX. So we've been asked to undertake the delivery task because for years and years UNICEF has delivered more vaccines than anyone else. So we vaccinate almost half the world's children every year. This means that we've got the skills, the capacity and the partners on the ground to succeed and, again, ensure no one get left behind. And it's so important for us to achieve this goal, to help life get back to normal, and also to allow children to access the key services that have been disrupted by the pandemic. So it's great that, the Gamers Without Borders are supporting this vital work.
I mean, speaking of us supporting and no one left behind, which is indeed our kind of slogan, our ethos for this year, 2021, it sounds incredible. But, in terms of education for, not only myself, but all of our viewers at home watching Gamers Without Borders, how can we contribute to your efforts? What can we do, to help UNICEF?
Yeah. So definitely, as well as obviously watching Gamers Without Borders, viewers can help us to beat the pandemic by donating to UNICEF and helping us to deliver this biggest ever global health campaign that I've mentioned. So with your support, we can help reach even more people with COVID-19 vaccines. And this is key. This is the only way we can push back the virus worldwide and protect the most vulnerable. Also, I guess a lot of the viewers are probably very active on social media. Another kind of, I guess, key way to support would be to help us fight the infodemic by sharing key messages on vaccines on your social media channels, and you can head over to UNICEF channels to see some of the messaging on this. And then finally, for the gamers of the Elite Tournament that ask very much, choose UNICEF and help us end this pandemic. For example, if you unlock a $100,000 donation, that can help to fund 2-dose vaccinations for 25,000 people. Hugely, hugely important.
I mean, yeah, that sounds absolutely vital. I mean, Frank, thank you so much for taking the time to join me on Gamers Without Borders, and we really appreciate everything you guys are doing, and best of luck with the rest of 2021 at UNICEF.
Thank you very much for having me.
And we are back with Gamers Without Borders, the biggest esports charity festival to date. Already a lot of money given out in the first year of this event, but Gamers Without Borders is back for even more action. And I'm here with Fifth Lauren, who is joining us for the first time here on this broadcast. Fifth Lauren, how are you feeling about that last match? I know probably not the best taste left in your mouth, given that Dignitas and your standing in the organization, the result, but really, at least it was fun, right?
I had a good time watching that game. We gotta remember, right, Forrest on here, using a sub in Twist. Shout out to Twist for joining us here this weekend as well. No, I had a good time. Sure, it always sucks to lose, right? But I think the guys had some fun as well. Heard you guys on the desk talk about the crab round with the dualies. We saw a 5-man boost on pistol round. I don't know. I think good fun as well at the end of it. When you're using a sub, especially versus a team like Faze and also Furia, you can already have a tough time coming into that game. So coming in and just having some fun, running around. Let's stay warm while Patrick is gone here. I think couldn't ask for more.
Yeah, I think at the very least that match was just pure entertainment, and for a charity event, that's really what you want to see. You don't really need to bust out your craziest strategies. You don't want to reveal the strats you're saving for the major, perhaps, but at the same time, we are in the winners match now. We are going to be watching Faze versus Furia, and these are two teams that have gone through a little bit of some changes lately, I would say, with Honda coming in for Furia. They subbed out Junior, who actually benched himself on the roster, and Faze, after Coldzera benched himself on that team, they brought in Olafmeister. So two teams with some fairly new rosters here. And what do you think is the more interesting storyline here for Faze? Is it them bringing in Olaf, or do you think it's the lack of the wins lately, Fifth Lauren?
I think it's a bit of both, right? I think when we talk about Faze, one of the things we have to remember, and I think it's a little bit forgotten about, right, because of the fact we've had this online era, but I mean, Faze packs a punch when it comes to just experience, right? So, I think they've definitely been on a downwards trajectory in terms of the online results, the games that we have seen them in. It's not that they're getting completely slammed, right? 2-0s, it's 2-1s most of the time. But I'm expecting, once we get back to offline events here for Faze, I actually do think they're going to start picking it up and getting back at it a little bit more. And we have to remember as well, these guys, because it is online, they're playing a lot more teams, right? The tier 2 teams that we actively see them in. And these guys are getting gradually better, right? Every week that goes on, these tier 2 teams in Europe are evolving. And I think for a team like Faze that's just used to playing against tier 1 opponents, there's just a lot of things that you have to adapt to. There's a lot of things that you kind of have to go back and look in the drawing board, right, and say, like, man, these teams don't play like tier 1 teams do anymore. It's a bit of a change in pace, and we have to adapt, and that takes a while.
Yeah, and we've got the veto at the bottom of our screen here. We see that Faze are actually picking out Mirage, Furia going with Nuke, and Inferno will be the decider if it reaches that point. We're not actually seeing Ancient this time around, which Kerrigan has really liked picking since the introduction of that map. But any quick thoughts there on map number 1, which is going to be Mirage?
Yeah, I think I'm excited here. We didn't get to touch about Furia too much, but we did cover these guys during North American RMR, and with a swap into Honda, I am excited. Head to Mirage is one of the better maps for Furia that we did see in North American RMR. The one maps that we do tend to see them go in and pick towards the Nukes and Vertigo. We still see them actively play it and pick it, but they've definitely been on a slump there. So yeah, I definitely look forward to the first map. Faze Playground, a lot of fun stuff here from Faze, the old team, especially when this kind of team came to light. but it used to be known as Kingwin. So these guys definitely know how to play this map. So I'm just excited, man. We have to remember it's a charity event and Honda first event with Furia. So I do think we're going to be seeing a little bit more run and gun, maybe a little less strategical play. But I'm still excited. Look forward to seeing Faze as well continue to develop. As you mentioned, they did get a win there against Dignitas. One of the few I think they've gotten as of late. So hoping to see if they can at least make this competitive versus Furia.
All right. Well, two guys that are also going to be excited for this one are going to be Dinko and Haka, and they'll be guiding you guys through this matchup here. So Dinko and Haka. Going to Mirage here, I feel like we might have been expecting an Ancient pick from FaZe, but what do you guys make of this?
I'm looking forward to seeing Mirage. I'm looking forward to seeing some improvements, Maui, from FaZe Clan, because when I was looking at some of the qualifications games just a few months ago, Alex, FaZe looked rough on the T side, they looked rough overall, so I'm just hoping to see some improvements as we hop into this.
Yeah, I hope so too. I think this will be fun just on the whole, just to see what Mirage can play out like with it being such a loose map, so open for a lot of plays, open for a lot of individuals. And the coolest thing I find about this tournament is I feel like you really get to see which players are true standouts, and like Twist is one of them. Twist has come through and just been showing us what he can do individually as we get rid of Maui Snake and get ready for the game.
You've done a good job as the host, have to say. Well done to Maui, obviously stepping in, doing a great job, and look forward to seeing more of the Maui Snake hosting job. But we get right back into things. It's Furia versus FaZe Clan. We're getting a start here on Mirage, and like I said, we did want to see some improvements out of FaZe. Today they looked they were having much more fun. The pressure's kind of off, and I hope that continues into Mirage here. When the pressure's off, I think they'll play a little bit better overall. And Carrigan, front man in the charge, Glock forward, and it's going to be Yuri in with a headshot straight to the smoke on Olafmeister.
Another smoke down into Connector. Brokey watching for the aggression, but Art's been able to find him. Ooh, Queserado coming in from CT Sport. 2v4 for FaZe from the site. Not looking too hot for them though. Carrigan also caught out at the end there. Really good shots from Furia to kick things off. And it's that 1-2 punch again. It's Yuri and Queserato who both come through with a double kill each. They go ahead and pick up the first round for Furia. And I like Furia on this map of Mirage. I think it's not maybe one of their better maps. It's not maybe a map they're always going to be picking a lot of the time, but I think it's a map where they can do a lot of their fast plays. We know that Art loves to try and push windows sometimes, using that bench even. That's always fun to watch out for, so I like seeing Furia on this map. I think they bring a lot of fun stuff to the table.
Yeah, I love seeing Furia everywhere, all good to be honest. Furia bringing a lot of fun wherever they go. But in particular, like you said, Mirage certainly one of the maps they're most proficient on. Art taking Olafmeister out of the round early on, but Rain, he was a player yesterday I was loving, really showing up in the last two maps. Now Carrigan diving out of Palace, getting himself a double kill on the Deagles. This is what FaZe Clan are deadly when the pressure is kind of off, when they know they've got the pistols out in play. Carrigan can sometimes have rounds like this. A 3k in from him, and that was just Vinny. Wow, what a round from FaZe. It's just out of nowhere. Carrigan diving out of Palace, Alex. They just can't do anything about that.
Yeah, there we go, Carrigan. That's more like what we want to see from him. I'm excited if Carrigan can keep that sort of play up too, because I think Carrigan, when he plays at his best, he likes to go for a lot of those sort of solo entry routes. So I think it's really important that he can hold his own individually, and definitely delivered here. Great shot onto the first player who was trying to back up through the smoke. Spam to the body for the second, and we've got a hot start as expected on Mirage.
Very hot start to this one. Honda wallbind kill onto Rain. Brokey quickly replying, and we did see a lot of the M4A1S coming in over the first couple of days, and now continuing into this one as well. Brokey having a good time with it in his hands. Yuri over towards ticket box. Beneath beside him. A 3v3 with damage done early on by Furia. FaZe Clan definitely need to slow this down. They do not want to lose after just picking up a Deagle round of their own, right? Gives them a huge opportunity to get off to a good start here on Mirage. And Vinny, he's causing problems. He's a nuisance right now. Gets by Olafmeister. Luckily, the kill from Brokey comes in as he secures the 4K. You can always rely on Brokey to save the day for FaZe as they go up to another round win. But it's so close to being back and forth, forced by losses.
Just kind of scrimming their way out onto the A side, throwing some basic pieces of utility on the fly, which is part of the reason why Art could get that kill on the cross with the scout. But thankfully, Olaf was able to get aggressive into jungle, and then Brokey could mainly focus on the players on the site itself. So nice start for FaZe. Now, I know that Art can be very good at getting these cheeky Zeus kills. Maybe Mirage isn't the best map for it, but he's got a Zeus here, and wow, Rain sharp as ever on the entry.
Oh, Art, I love the attempt. He tries to get around the corner of Palace to get that. Somehow Kestrado not getting his frag onto Brokey. 6-1, Brokey's off to a flying start here on Mirage. Furia, let's take a look at what they've got in their back pocket in this round. 4 rifles, one of them are FAMAS, but the rest of them for A4s. No A1S action out for them in this one. And AWP for Art early. No up for FaZe Clan, so Art will certainly have an advantage from that department.
Knowing Art, he might just go for close range fights with it anyway, Dinko. Who knows?
Holy shotgun that.
He's holding window for now, though. He's being measured with his approach at the start of the round, trying to see if he can get the no-scope through. Not meant to be, though. Smoke goes down to stop Olaf. Elsewhere, Brokey going out through Palace, but Queserado's in the corner, and they're not ready for him. Easy lineup onto 2, and even though Twists eventually gets the trade, it's probably too far gone, unless they can keep getting kills like that.
The bomb going back from spawn. Yuri has taken ramp control, so we can get some early information if FaZe Clan decide to close out the round over towards A. But right now, it's not looking like that is the case, right? They're going to be leaving spawn, heading their way back into middle. Under a minute left in play. Twists clearing out the window, now playing in tandem with Olafmeister. Really trying to figure out what options are available to them. Of course, with the extra time on top of the clock, having got into the situation so early on, they do have time to figure out what the best approach is, and they're going to go towards B, and this certainly looks like the best chance for them. It's Vinny over here alone, and he's got a FAMAS, so if you're going to go in 2 for 1 up against a FAMAS at long range, Alex, I do favor FaZe Clan in taking this site if they go quickly.
Yeah, the problem for Furia is they have ramp information, but they have no mid control. So that's why they're having to play so far back. Now these nades might give the game away, though.
Yeah, Molotov down in towards the van. It's a drop down from Olafmeister. Trying to charge forward. Vinny's done well with his positioning just to create chaos with a smoke, the kill as well. And now with time limited, the rotations have come over and Twist has to pull off an incredible round. There's just not enough time even to get near towards the site. Fantastic round out of Vinny and huge individual skill and awareness to understand how to play that situation. You're going up against 2 rifles coming out of the apartments. You've only got the FAMAS. Just place his positions and his cover perfectly. And that's enough to get Fury of the round.
A valiant effort from FaZe. Got to give them credit for coming close in the round and putting it into a somewhat winnable position. But Vinny was always in control on the B side there. 3-2. Brokey. Twist has an AK though, which might be even more important with how he's been playing throughout this tournament. And Ray's just going to walk out through ramp. They want kills and they're going to find him.
Oh, Honda, FAMAS, they're really making these FAMAS look good right now. I can assure you, it's not that easy to make that weapon look good. FaZe Clan with the man advantage. The bomb in T-spawn though, so they're going to have to run back and get that. Brokey's hopped out of the B apartment somehow alone with the AWP on B. Twist is just holding down the fort here on the A side, making sure no one can come back into the site. Just buying time for Carrigan to get back over and get that bomb. And if there is a player going to leave, it would be Twist up in Palace, but luckily Brokey from short spots the connector player easily, and that's more like what you expect out of the FAMAS. Vinny just rattling shots, none of them really doing much. Round done, and FaZe Clan get another And it's disappointing to see for Furia, but FaZe Clan will not be complaining about that round win because he put the money of the Brazilians into a very sticky situation. You know, Art has 4K, he can get a buyout, but the rest of the team don't have a whole lot to play with, and Art is going to go for the AUG, and there's nothing else really around it. This is a weird buy. I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out.
And the hero rifle of Art seems to be sticking in the back lines right now. He's playing CT, and it's worked for him. Brokey tries to peek him with the AWP. Not going to be allowing that to happen, and Art's got a second kill. All of a sudden, this purchase looks magnificent. Oh my god, he's still going!
How is he doing this? This is why you never question the Art play. Never. Those kind of buys work out for Art. He just defies logic. He defies everything about Counter-Strike that we think we know. And Twists coming out of ramp. Do you even want to go into us at A site now? Art is over towards window. Carrigan was there, but on the low HP decides to run back. Maybe regrouping with Twists is the best option for the round win here. Just over a minute left in play, and if there is a player that could turn this round around for FaZe Clan, it's going to be Twist on the AK. We've seen some incredible aim out of him over the past couple of days, and if you are aware of what kind of player Twist is, you know that's not going to be stopping anytime soon. And Serrato under wood, Honda just very patient and very disciplined not to be giving anything up. They don't have the info that Twist is out Tetris, but they don't need it. Utility now being used up, trying to sever the team play between Honda and Kesserado, but they had a smoke available. Honda did fall back to a bit of a wide angle and actually catches Twist off of it. Now going through, Kesserado nearly had the worst timing, but Carrigan couldn't find him. And Furia, they win the round. Just off that Art buy, he buys one AUG and he gets a 3K from it.
I love that repositioning from Honda too. I think in the past he maybe would have just wanted to take the fight when he got mollied out there, but he realized that just falling back to a safe angle and baiting FaZe players into him and into his teammates was the better decision. So even though he got mollied off the site, he stayed as tucked in as possible so that he wasn't exposed to the angle. But a bunch of favorable fights early in the round, long range with the AUG, that's what it can do for you. And that is a huge swing for Furia. They will be very happy about that.
Yuri trying to look over the top of the smoke. Now to his left side, he might be able to get something, but if he commits to that angle, he would have to fight the top mid players. I think Yuri realizes it's probably not the best idea to try and fight out mid. In the meantime, Carrigan has got into this window smoke. He's actually pushed up further. Honda seems to be aware of that possibility, though. Carrigan, really quite the opposite of Honda in terms of the experience they've got right now, might just get the better of it, and he does. Headshotting, not ready for the second player though. Yuri had fallen back from connector into jungle, and he's just killing everybody. I see the Twitter poll you put up earlier today, Alex, about who's the best Brazilian player right now. I don't know. I think it's Yuri in my opinion, Alex. I feel like I clicked the Yuri button. He's just performing so well.
Yeah, I think it's got to be between him and Keserato for me, and it's so touch and go between them. They both have their moments, but so far, Yuri's had a couple of really good maps in this specific tournament. 30 seconds remaining, and FaZe will start to move back towards A. Still lots of utility left for Furia, which could be a real problem for FaZe here as they move to the site. There's still 2 nades left, and Keserato has a really good position. Spray to the body. He ends up going up the ladder awkwardly, so not as much as Keserato may have wanted, but the time is so low, 10 seconds, there's just no way in.
Yeah, bad CT smoke as well, a little bit of gap on the edge of it allows for those easy kills towards the end for Furia, but yeah, the Keserato round is one you want to forget about pretty quickly. We've all been there though. The easiest are the ones you think you